Welcome to LaTB, the only podcast that comes with a free Bandits bonus.
Express delivery included.
LaTB, where MMA and UFC get silly. This is the LaTB podcast.
Welcome back, episode 221. We're coming back after a night of fights, the morning after, and what a night we had of fights coming out of Sacktown. We had all sorts of showcase fights. We told you guys, betting-wise, it was going to be a little iffy. There was a ton of underdogs that came through. We were definitely cashing big old checks, stacks of money. We trying to tell you, we dropped them cards. Weigh-ins was some of the most interesting dynamic I've seen in a very long time, and I feel like that's a good place to start. Do you think that type of a weight cut was beneficial for Aspen Ladd, making 135 pounds instead of 136 as per regulation because there was no belt on the line? So she openly chose to cut a pound.
I think there should be hydration tests.
That would change many fighters'
They could just
trajectory.
move everybody's belt up 10 pounds, do hydration tests, and go from there.
We've said it before. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but she had to get medically checked out after weigh-ins, did Aspen Ladd, to make sure that she was still able to fight on Saturday. And we all know how that ended up, but we're going to eventually get there. But that was, I feel like, the most significant information, news. We were really chatting about it on our Twitterverse, on our Instagram. We were definitely asking the fans out there, if you're not following and liking, at Lesbo and the Bean, at Zoltanite, at Weakneck Baby as well. But oh man, should we just start from the bottom other than that? Because at weigh-ins, everyone else made weight. Well, everyone looked good. There was a little bit of tussling between some competitors there, between Van Buren and Souza, but it was other type of signings, other stuff we want to get into. How do you feel about it?
We can save the Twitterverse till the end again, unless people start hating it, and we can just get right in to the morning after UFC Sacramento. It was controversial at best. How was that judging for you?
Starting off the entire night, we had a 135-pound bout decision go to Benito Lopez against Vince Morales. I had Benito Lopez as an underdog here, Alphamale guy. You ended up having Morales, and I would say you were right in that pick. Morales won 2, if not all 3 of those rounds, and that first round could have been a 10-8 compared to the new standards as far as a knockdown, because Benito Lopez got dropped with the right hand. Did rally well, come back, throw a lot of kicks, but there was times in there where Benito Lopez was one-dimensional in just kicking, not throwing any hands, and really got pushed up against the fence. Most of it got on his bicycle, and luckily they were in Sacramento, the local town, getting involved. He had a big crowd there, and we saw the judges swayed because I think somebody had a 30-27 in there at a time. I could be wrong, but it went 29-28, which I still think is wrong. I saw Benito losing. I won a bet. I'm happy with that part, but that's something that I got to really think about. Benito's just not growing enough for me. He's staying that one-dimensional gassing type of a guy, and once plan A's out the window, his plan B is just to hold on until the fight's over, as far as what I keep seeing in there. I was really hoping the young man was moving forward, but he's kind of stayed stagnant. What do you end up taking away from this one?
I really felt good with my pick. It went really close to exactly what I thought was going to happen, and it wasn't even the worst thing that's, I feel like, happened to me over the period of the night. I finished maybe 6 or 7. I don't remember.
I believe we were both 7 of 12.
No, I was 6 then.
I was 7 of 12.
But I feel like I should have been around 8 or 7. 8 of 12.
The judge is getting involved here. This was one. Hey, I had a couple of mine taken. Maybe not. Maybe not. You had a couple hard ones. Yeah. It's true. That is the truth. God damn.
So this wasn't even the worst. So the Lappy rule of staying away from the first fight of the night, this didn't really hurt me at all. So I wasn't even that mad. And I even tweeted out, I'm like, you know what? I don't think that decision should have gone that way, but I'm not mad. Like, okay.
Right. I didn't hurt my cards.
And you said, hey, local guy, don't you think it matters?
Thank you.
Sometimes it matters. We all know.
Especially in a town like California where they like to say they have the cream of the crop fighters, which they do. They're definitely out there being one of the talent-rich scenes. So just something to note next time we go to Sacramento.
This lets you know, though, I think you should take it forward as a bettor that's just betting live, where you're like, let's see how the hometown judges are about to act. This lets you know about a lot of fights going forward. If I could have changed live, I would have adjusted things. But some, they get locked a lot of the time. So
Correct. So who do you have against for Lopez? I mean, I feel like he fights anybody at 135 pounds. He is 10-1.
Both guys are really not big enough for me to... They don't get rank yet.
They don't get another opponent. It's whoever they want to throw him in against.
Yeah.
Totally agreed with that one. On to 115 pounds, we ended up having a unanimous decision for debuting Brianna Van Buren, coming in at all 5 foot even against the veteran Livia Renata Souza. Souza really gassing again. Striking was a little bit limited, and she really got picked apart against the cage. There was a point in time in that second round where Souza had both hands down and just ate 5 shots in a row. And we saw Van Buren really start to get confident there in the second round. And only towards the end of the second round did Souza land a right hand that gained the respect of the fight to turn it into a decision. Van Buren didn't run in after any more of those punches, but she had decidedly won 2, if not all 3 of those rounds. I believe it was all 3. I didn't give Souza a shot, even on the ground. Van Buren kept it standing. She's a little fireball, Van Buren. She gets added in there. She was moving like John Dotson.
She earned her nickname. She was the bull. She was moving forward. I felt she was far more aggressive than John Dotson.
By far.
She didn't get on her bicycle.
That's pretty true. That's a good one.
But I really like Van Buren in there. I think she really proved herself really well. And but I think her competition has been a tiny bit stiffer than Sousa so far in the UFC. I don't know. I didn't put her in too many places, so it really didn't help me out. Even though it was a solid performance, it did not help me anywhere on DraftKings.
I had Souza on.
So I can't even be like, yeah, I told you, this should be on your card. Because I'll actually give you credit for it that I had a card, because I listen to the show, and if you listen and you make money.
That's the truth.
So I had a card, and you know what? Judges' decisions or not, shit happens. And so sometimes shit happens for you, and sometimes it happens against you, and sometimes it happens for you a couple of times in the night, which could help a card.
Oh, a little bit. By a couple 100 points.
So I played a card on your advice, and I'm way more than broke even. So I was like, all right.
Definitely doing good as far as the DraftKings lines have been doing the last couple weeks, especially with those PMPs, giving y'all a little hint. I feel like it's been 3 fight cards in a row. Started off.
PMP is 100%. Woo! You can knock on wood anywhere in this studio. Like the whole entire studio.
And there was like a plus 205 in there. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, been good. Yeah.
Making some money. So, enough tooting of all them horns. What do you take away from this fight for Van Buren? Give her anyone at 115. Let's go. And Souza, I mean, she's on a 2-fight losing streak and looking rough. I think she gets one more go at it, and then it might be time. But she probably gets another shot at that division right now.
Yeah. It's 115.
135 pounds. We have Jonathan Martinez coming in against Pian Liu. If you are on the Alphamale parlay system where you were betting all Alphamale guys, this was the one that didn't come through. He is a Chinese fighter who was coming in on that international trade that the UFC got with the Chinese guys, and he was in the Yadong Song type of fight talkings, but we really saw Liu get a lot of respect from Martinez. Pedro, I didn't give the respect he needed. This motherfucker's a killer. I loved everything I saw from Martinez in there. He definitely was bobbing and weaving his head, amazingly going to the body and head, throwing kicks up the middle, knees. I mean, he had Liu respecting him everywhere and ate a shot as good as anyone I'd ever seen in there, because Liu landed a couple right hands that, whoop boy. Martinez, definitely a fun prospect, somebody to watch out for in the division. I liked everything I saw. I think Liu gets another shot in there, especially because he's got the alpha male China ties. He's also, I feel like, got representation from WME, the company. So Liu's going to get another fight, but Martinez, that's somebody to watch out for. He looked fun in there. But is it Lou maybe had a little more hype than he should have?
I had Martinez going into it.
Great pick. This was on point.
I didn't put him anywhere on my DraftKings, so it didn't help me out. But I was nervous. I thought, oh, he's gonna lose the decision. I really thought. I'm like, oh shit, this could go bad. But yeah, this was kind of an unmemorable fight for me throughout the night.
Lou ran a lot in this.
Yeah.
Lou lost a few of those exchanges, and he ended up getting on his bike more so than the other one. And then finally, when he chose to get in there, that knee was sweet. How do you feel about Pedro Martinez embodying Napoleon Dynamite's moniker, his friend there?
I would do whatever gets you remembered. If you can get your name on, it seems like it's the UFC. If you're ready to fight and can get your name big enough, but you got to be ready to fight. Dana does seem to pay off people that are always ready to go.
Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, he does seem to like hook them up and get them the fight they eventually want. Daniel Cormier even. Like, I really do believe Dana did everything he could to get him that Brock fight. I don't know. So, and I don't care about the Brock DC fight, obviously. I'm just saying I think DC wanted it like so bad.
Easy fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So either guy, give them whoever in the division. Again, they're young and up and comers. They're willing to take a shot, to give a shot. So they're willing to represent themselves at this point in time. I think Martinez...
The first round of this, I feel like, was an amazing fight, and then it just went, I said it was unmemorable. Now I feel horrible for saying it, because the first round of this was like, gentlemen, and then now it's just somewhere in my brain, so I'm sorry that I even said that.
But it's because Lou backed off. Because as soon as Lou was like, holy shit, this guy can eat a shot, and he just hit me way too hard, which eventually ended up coming through with that knee again at the end of the third round. Ooh, it was pretty. Definitely fun prospect in Martinez in there. He's going to be fighting soon. I don't think he took too much damage, but there were some exchanges. We'll see what the reports say afterwards. That was it on the finishes of the night. There were still a couple other ones. We had an unmemorable fight, speaking of which, in Darren Elkins coming in against Ryan Hall. Hall being the decided favorite in here. Also, a fight that I feel like called out pretty close to a T, saying Ryan Hall's going to be throwing all sorts of crazy kicks in there because he doesn't care if he goes down, and Elkins didn't want to strike at all. And the crowd usually boos. And guess what? Crowd came right in, booed this one right up because Hall was turning and running by the end of this third round. Literally. There was a couple times where he was like, hey, whoa, look at my arms. Like,
dare I say this? Ryan Hall, take away striking and add more kicks, has a Tony Ferguson-esque fight style. It's really wackadooey. It is wacky in there. And it's just like, because there is this no fear of going to the ground, he almost begs of you to do it. And he almost knows he's going to have to take a shot. He is perfecting kicks that no one else would use in the UFC for fear of getting taken down. So their kicks are pretty brutal. I just think Tony Ferguson gets pretty crazy with his elbows and hands a lot more than Ryan Hall. And that's almost what I'd say to Ryan Hall next. Work on your elbows and hands a little bit and in there to take this to an even another level, because he's going to need another level.
Right. I would agree with that, but this is really interesting because people are going to be like, Ryan Hall's a striker. He knocked down Elkins how many times? 4 or 5 times in this fight?
Elkins looked like a zombie in there. Like,
which usually
little head
does.
Movement, coming forward. He got hurt a bunch of times and wasn't really laying out anything. He was stalking, but wasn't really throwing a lot of punches.
Because as soon as he threw a punch, Ryan Hall was Imanari rolling in through those legs.
I was so wrong here, and I do think Ryan Hall really hurt Elkins that he could turn on no game plan. I don't want to totally hate on Ryan Hall because this was such a weird fight.
More to come on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited though, and I know everybody is. I'm gonna be. I don't know. I don't want to jinx the hype train.
Yeah, you don't want to get on. Thank you. We got money to make still. We got money to make.
I know.
That was fairly one-sided, just with those knockdowns.
And it's just, is it time for Darren Elkins too?
I don't think so, but I want him personally to step away just because we're seeing that damage accumulate. outside of the ring with him now. You can listen to some of the stuff, and it's just like, ooh, starting to sound slow. Darren Elkins, please, time to get on out here. For your own self, for your own good, for your own good. Moving on to 135 pounds, we had a decision between Juliana Pena versus Nico Montano. Pena coming off of a 2-year hiatus, having the baby in weigh-ins, having her at every single point in time prior to and even at the fight. She was ready with that kid around. Nico Montano having a year, 7 months after winning the belt. You put out a great tweet during this fight, and it was Spider-Man versus Spider-Man pointing at each other, and this was that exact fight.
It was perfect time to use it.
And it really was. I mean, neither of them really did more than the other. I guess Pena got 2 or 3 more takedowns, but she really muscled them in there. And against higher level competition, Pena's not the prospect she was 2 years ago when the division was brand new still. Now, we got some real contenders in here, and I see Pena having a much tougher route to get to that belt. I don't think that this deems her a contention, maybe a top 5 lady at 135 pounds, but...
Could she be Jessica I?
Pena... She could be Jessica I, but that's a close fight. That's a closer fight than it would have been 2 years ago.
There's some good fights left for her at 125. I'm interested
35.
in her. No, it's 120. No, it's 135.
35, Montana. Yeah, Montana moved up from the...
Oh, I thought it was a 125 fight.
It was 35,
I thought it was Pena moving down. Huh, what a bumski. But I thought Pena looked all right in there. To me, the more rough she shook off, the better she looked. And it slowly became her fight, and her experience paid off. She looked rusty at first. Mm-hmm. It was scary for a minute. Or Montano just may have, or even in a way that Pena let Montano overexert herself in those takedowns, and then
they both look rusty for that matter.
Yeah, they were both out for a long time.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I'm interested to see. Both ladies wrestling is so much. It's so much further than so many other ladies in the division. They could give a lot of people a really hard time. So I want to see how they progress. And that fight didn't cause either of them too much damage.
Agreed.
But that's an Angela Hill fight.
That's usually their styles in general, and that's why that Spider-Man tweet was so perfect, because that's what they do. That's what they do. Moving on to 145 pounds, we had Andre Touchy Fili coming in against Sherman Moraes, the underdog. When we were touting him off here on the podcast, he eventually moved to the favorite, ended up breaking about that minus 115 near even line by fight night. Touchy Fili coming through hot. Thought the takedowns were going to be a little more involved here, but Touchy Fili striking, I said out of all of the Alphamale guys, he's the one who least falls into the mold of that typical overhand right and uses wrestling. And it wasn't just that right. That jab was landing on point. Once Fili hurt Moraes in that first little bit of an exchange, he pounced all over him, never let him off the hook. It was a fun fight. This was my key player on DraftKings that ended up paying out.
What would be better to be, the Brennan Schaub or the Skip Bayless? You know Skip Bayless? He's like that clammy looking old white
yeah.
Okay, sorry. Where he's like, ugh.
So, this one, did you end up going with Moraes? Or did you...
Nope. I had Touchy Fili. We both had Touchy Fili here.
He
looked so good. I had him to go to decision. I didn't think it would be quite so dynamic. I thought he'd just slowly wear Shaman out and his experience would take over. I have to take back even what I said about Alphamale, because they had a lot of prospects that looked really good, and I love Touchy Fili. He looked so good here.
I feel like we've been saying it for a bit. Bitskis now.
I had him on a lot of cards, and I was very excited. I only had 4 cards. I had on 3 of them, 4 of my cards. But I did have a card. My card that I got more than all my money back on was a card that I'm so glad I did, because I just filled in with everything we agreed on, but then heavy ones, like I put GDR on it, which was your pick.
Thank you.
Over mine. And there was another big one that I'll probably remember when we get there. I don't know. I'll remember it. But there was one other big one that was your pick and not mine.
A PMP maybe? Plus money. Puesta.
No, I had Emmett as well. Yeah, so I had Emmett as well.
So, where do we go with Fili? Where do we go with Marias? I think Marias has fights left at 45, but he might be on a 3-fight losing streak. Maybe he won one in between there. Let me see real quick. I think he did. Thinking about it, he did have a...
Fili, I think, is burning it up.
Oh, yeah, he's been looking good for a bit. Yeah, this is his 2-fight losing streak to Yusuf and Fili now, but he beat Arce in there and Salas again, so he got fights left. He has fights left.
I want to see Fili. It's his run.
I agree.
He's looking crisp.
I agree.
He's looking good. He's looking fast.
He's still, 26 years old, 27 years old? He's been fighting for a while.
Isn't it crazy to think of all the young prospects in the UFC that are just slayers and think, oh my gosh, we get to watch these guys for, I mean, we're super conservative 5 more years. So we get to watch them progress for 5 more years. And that is insane to think about.
And then we have Macy Barber, who's the new breed of the new breed. Already the new breed. So it's like, and then the additions that are going to be 19 years old, 18 years old eventually. Like, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane.
I cannot wait. We definitely had a lot of young blood in here this fight night, and they showed out. I mean, we had all sorts of crazy finishes. Those being one of them.
The name of the article one day will be The House That John and Rhonda Built.
Ooh.
Isn't that deep?
Dang.
Because it is kind of that way in a weird way. They're the new breed that made a new breed that now there's a new breed. But then maybe one day there'll be a whole different article that's like the house Adesanya and Amanda built, or the house Whitaker and Amanda built, or the house, it'll be a whole nother whoever.
True.
I just mean
it's a game of belts.
It just keeps changing. It just keeps getting better, and it just keeps.
Agreed, progressing. And that's why we need more divisions.
It's pretty great.
So, anything left with Fili and or Marias?
Fili makes us get all deep.
Definitely. At 205 pounds, we had debuting short notice replacement John Allen coming in against Mike Rodriguez. We were telling you here, hey, Mike Rodriguez should be the decided favorite, but minus 450, no way in hell you can be putting them for 9-4 and anything. And the couple cards I had did bad, which weren't many because I stayed away from Rodriguez. The ones that Rodriguez touched, those had the kiss of death on them. And it was just, you can't trust this guy. Short notice. We were saying that left hook mattered for John Allen. He was a scrapper in there. Couldn't pay up for him. So I pretty much stayed away from Rodriguez other than I think like 2 cards.
I wish I did. He was on 3 or 4 of my cards. So I'm so glad. I still cashed on one of the cards he was on. That's how solid of a card it was. But those are almost more painful sometimes.
Agreed.
Because you're like, oh my God, if I had anyone but this one.
Agreed. 100%
Alan
agreed.
looks so good in there.
Yep. Killer.
So good.
Killer. 21 years old, 22 years old. Absolute killer. So this is one of these new up-and-coming prospects that's like, remember him. But at the same time, I do think that Rodriguez has a level of hype that is uncoming to himself and his actual skills compared to just some of the finishes he's had. And again, a big narrative that they were boasting about on all the UFC stuff was this is the first time he's had a nutritionist and an actual coach this time in his life because he goes to the PMP center or whatever. He was gassed in the first round.
Game. He's the go to a wrestling heavy camp.
But the gas tank as well. He was absolutely done after that first round and was just throwing those long arms out there, getting tuned up. I mean, Allen looked good everywhere. We had a unanimous decision for the humongous underdog. He's going to get definitely got a good way to go out there. I think Rodriguez is still going to be a fade. I mean, his gas tank is just proven to be bad. Even though I didn't fade him, but I think he's on that train.
I think Allen's a sneaky underdog going forward, and Rodriguez is kind of one-dimensional. And if he goes against somebody that's chinny, maybe he'll win. But other than that, it's a slowly walk. But he doesn't have to... I wish I could think of a quick is it an anagram for get on out of here? I don't think it's quite that.
No, I agree. I think he still has a few fights left in there, but he's got to turn around something. It just, there's deficiencies in his game in there, but he is explosive and really long. I mean, that he's just like Gumby body in there. He was long.
Yeah.
On to 185 pounds. We had Marvin Vittori coming in as a slight favorite against Cesar Muntach Ferreira being an underdog that I was picking here, I was thinking that it was really going to be that wrestling going in there, and oh my disgustingness, have I ever seen such gross, disgusting grabs for takedowns. It's all due credit to Vettori's using that wrestling, that time off. The steroid suspensions ended up paying off for him because he looks super strong in there, yoked out.
Steroid suspension?
That's why he ended up taking a little bit of a break. I ended up finding he had a little bit of extra juice in his water.
Jacked up Nick Carter.
Wonder why he got suspended? Looking like a monster in there. Ferreira usually looks pretty big, and I just think, and I was just like, wow, Vettori looks like a whole weight class above him.
That's my question I'm going to be tweeting out after the show. If you built a boy band out of 5 UFC fighters, who would they be? And then I'll even maybe do a picture of a couple of faces on like the Backstreet Boys or something, or Take 5. I don't know.
I love it.
And build them. But look at Vettori. He might be in my boy band.
I feel like him and Rose Namajunas could be cousins.
I don't know. He looks like Nick Carter to me or something.
I can see that too, for sure. Interesting. Yeah. I like that question.
So
throw it out. I'll get working on one. I got some interesting picks.
Yeah. So put it in your head, you guys.
Is it head only, or can it go down to about nip level? Because then that changes the game.
You can. That part is on you.
That's
you can
on
decide.
Me.
Yeah, you can decide, and you can put it in your explanation if you need to. But yeah, so be looking for that question to come out soon. That's why you're following our UFC show.
Definitely. Where do you go with Vettori and Ferreira in this? Ferreira looks like it might be time. He was looking spent.
He was looking spent. It might be getting definitely close, but Vettori was looking better to me. I liked everything I saw from Marvin.
I agree. He looked like a monster in there, and that's definitely a good thing. Vettori, I picked him against Adesanya because I thought that wrestling would come into play. It didn't against Adesanya. I backed off of it for this Ferreira fight, and it comes through, and it's just, I'm not getting a good read on Vettori, and it's because he's burned me a couple times. You burned me, kid.
Yeah.
So, and it was that fight IQ, but he showed.
I stayed away from this fight. I had this as my dirty split, which you can look for that out there on our cards. It's like the little garbage pail kid stamp. But I thought this one was going to be very low scoring, so I stayed away from it.
I had my dirty split end up being Hall versus.
You can put it on 5 of them if you want to.
Oh,
You think all the fights are going to be close and low scoring? Because I think that all matters too.
So what does a dirty split that entail? Does it mean, does it tell people to stay away from the bet, stay on the bet, or just know that it's going to be a dirty, stinky split?
I think when things are dirty, stinky splits, most of the time, they're low scoring. So I just think you can take from it what you will. It'll be a dirty split. Take from that what you will.
Okay.
But anyways, this was what I thought was going to be a dirty split, so I thought it was going to be low scoring. I don't know if Vettori killed it in points, but I stayed away from it.
I think it was around 86 points for about 8,400.
That's not bad.
So it wasn't horrible.
Bad. I think he did better than he should have then. Never mind.
I still didn't have him on many. I stayed away from this fight, and it ended up working out because I had definitely other spots. Allen, I had on one of my cards. Because I was like, remember these guys? He definitely ended up catching me out pretty good throughout the night. So, moving on to 185 pounds, we have Carl Robertson coming in against Wellington Turman. If you're talking about dirty, stinky, rotten splits, oh my goodness, man. You had this fight. You had it right. Again, I ended up going Robertson. You went Turman. Ended up going my way, but I don't feel bad saying that he didn't deserve that bout. He didn't deserve that fight.
This one really surprised me.
Right?
I was like, right in the heart. It can't get any worse. And it did.
Still
did. I don't even know what to say. I was really shocked. I was shocked by this point. This one was more egregious than the first fight even, where it was like, what? Who? How did that even happen? Yeah, stunning. I don't know what to say about it. It was a grind of a fight. I love the leg kicks of Robertson at the beginning, but he just was another guy that proved that he had such a little ground game that once it was exploited, I just feel like it's dangerous for anyone without a ground game to go too far in the UFC. Because even moderate guys Holly Holm can take down Megan Anderson. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's like, I don't know.
I definitely was like, hey, I feel like I was also championing for Turman there a bit, saying like, hey, guys, be iffy on Robertson as well, because I went back and listened as well, and I tried to do a couple of those cards, and oh, am I glad, because I stayed away from Robertson on a lot of fight cards, and it paid off. He did still end up getting like 70.
I feel like I should have gotten 8 right, because this is the only other one that I
this
feel
one
like
was
I
bad.
actually, even though there was some other things that pissed me off later on that were worse than this that happened, this was still the one where I'm like, okay, I can settle that I could at least say I should have gotten 8 right and not 6.
Agreed. And that would have set me into that 5
But you never
range.
know, and I should have thought we know,
We
talk
say
about elevation, we talk about temperature, we talk about audience, yeah.
We said it though. We
You're right.
we did say it. So you got to take it
You're
into
from
consideration.
California.
I'm saying I know
Should've
Golden
told
State
me.
Warriors. Ask them if they cheat. Ask Michael Jordan if he ever cheat.
Ask Dana Cormier if you ever pressed on a towel.
Ask GSP if you ever cheat. He'll tell you. He had a man kiss BJ Penn on the walk-in. That's real life. That really happened. That was all back in the day. And it was supposed to throw GSP off, and they made rules after that. Thanks a lot, GSP.
It's dirty as hell.
Thank a lot, GSP. So, where do you go with either of these guys? Turman's gonna be a dark horse in the division. I think he might be a little more hyped coming off of this loss than anything, because a lot of people saw that it should have went for Turman there. Carl Robertson has deficiencies as well, like a Rodriguez type of fighter. I'm like, whoa, if you don't get the knockout in the first 2.5 minutes, your gas tank goes right down.
Yeah, I agree. Neither of them are ranked yet. Neither of them get ranked. Neither of them get ranked fighters or deserve for us to set them up on a good fight.
On a good fight, we ended up having
Not that they don't deserve it, but...
They're working on it. On to 145 pounds, we had the PMP of the night, the plus money Puesta, coming in against Mirsad Bektik. We had Josh Emmon coming in as a plus 135 underdog when we posted the bet. That moved around a little bit to about plus 130. So either way, was putting a couple of those Alphamale parlays together. I forgot Lou was a part of the Alphamale guys, so he wasn't in any of my bets, which really worked out for me. But this was one that really cashed, being big in there. Emmett landing a power jab and then finishing up Bektik on the ground with ground and pound. There was an uppercut from that Dane Henderson under the armpit, under the side where he hit Fedor with. It'll knock out a lot of guys. I love any fighter who throws that, and Emmett obviously saw that.
I'm not going to get when I say it. Do you realize that is 100%? Sorry. That's a big deal. For free.
Absolutely free. All we ask is a like.
When somebody starts their software company and they are looking for a place to throw it, just saying. When they hit their first big, I don't even know what a lot of money is anymore. Numbers don't mean anything. What is it like when they first are 50 billion, trillion?
Those are real numbers, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, there's advantages at point in times. It was that chin of Bektik more than anything, because all the way around, he should have been the better fighter there. And it was a scrap. Emmett was in. That wasn't an easy fight. Bektik was giving a good showing of himself, but he, again, just couldn't take that power of lesser power fighters. And Emmett's a big power fighter. That was in that mini little breakdown. Emmett carried it into the third round. I was thinking that it was going to end up taking a little bit longer, but those power jabs, I mean, it was just a jab, but it's just the fact that Bektik actually has a big deficiency in his chin there, and it's something that you got to count on from this point forward.
I think Emmett's a scary guy still coming up through the division. If people keep doubting him because of how brutal the people are going to keep saying that little heathen knockout, but...
It started with an illegal knee. We'll always say that too.
Come on, remember. But no one remembers. They just see the win-loss. It fades
Agreed.
off. It fades off into the distance. But
that's why we're here to remember.
Unless it's on the highlight reel, to just keep coming up. Unless you're Ronda Rousey and getting beat up. That's kind of the...
Now it's going to be Ben Askren. That knee's going to be everywhere.
That will be.
But man, there was some memorable... The knee tonight was pretty dead. That dude was out on his feet.
There is some crazy...
Finishes coming.
Crazy. I mean, think of Yair's elbow.
Right.
I mean, some of the things, like the timing, the precision...
Masvidal with Till earlier in the year was
Oh
also
my
a
gosh.
knockout for the year potential in there. I mean, this one wasn't one of those one and done, but the main event might be one of those.
Uriah Faber versus Simone.
At the co-main event, we ended up having a big favorite in Simone coming in. I didn't realize that Martinez, who fought Lopez, was actually Simone's cousin. So that should have been a clue. The cousins versus Alphamale. Alphamale ended up paying off the judges, getting the refs in there a little bit early. I tend to think here at 46 seconds, Uriah Faber gets a finish the first time in 10 years, I believe. He ain't finishing no one, but he did have Simone face plant after that overhand rights. Alphamale, we've been saying it here. Have we been saying it from day one with Alphamale? What is going to land? Overhand right. Overhand right. Simone left that opening for that overhand right, and
And you almost got to think now that Uriah Faber hand-selected his fight because he saw that opening when he was watching him and one of his other fights.
Could be. I mean, Uriah Faber is a very smart man.
And he's smart enough to hand-select his fights and only fight in California from this point out.
I mean, really showing out. If you put those alpha male guys other than Lou in there, you're definitely cashing big. I only had 3 of those because I didn't see Faber winning with an overhand right. I thought that I saw Simone take harder shots from other fighters, but I mean...
I won on a fight card. Gosh, I want to say that Simone was on it.
I cashed
Or
on
maybe I
fight
didn't
cards.
have it on.
I cashed on fight cards because I crowned him on my bets throughout the night. So I did go heavy with him with 2, but I had so many other guys winning out, doing well. Allen being on a couple of those that it just...
I just didn't see him finishing. That's why I didn't put this on my
I thought it would
card.
be. I thought it would be takedown heavy. I thought it was going to be a wrestling clinic, and he was going to end up getting like 12 takedowns, which is DraftKings money in the bank. But I thought this was early. Again, Simone
Early
turned over, and he's starting to fight it. I mean, yeah, he got stung, but we saw other guys get stung throughout the night. The refs let it go on. This is also the crowd favorite. The judges being in there and being like, "Oh, Uriah almost got it. Done. Automatically guaranteeing Uriah 3 more fights in the UFC. Guaranteed.
He can fight whenever he wants, regardless of his record at this point. He's
True.
a legacy fighter.
But is this a legend move?
No. I thought it was an early stoppage. It was disappointing. But at this point in the night, I was like, are you kidding me? And also at this point of the night, I feel like I had 2 cards with Simone on them. But my bets were hedged. Either way it went for the last fight of the night, I was one of my fight cards was going to cash because I did one on mine and I did one on yours. So I was like, for my 2 most expensive, and either way, those would cover my whole night of bets. So, anyways.
102, I believe he scored in the minimal strikes that Uriah Faber cashed there. But hey, I'm going to keep trying to fade Uriah Faber from this point on.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget he's there every single time I watch it again. I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot he didn't retire.
And on to the main... Well, where do you go with Simone, I guess? Anybody?
Yeah.
He's had like 3 fights in a row. It's his first loss to Faber. It doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
So he's just back to the drawing board. On to the main event. We had another underdog. Telling you guys at 135 pounds, GDR was going to come in with that iron fist. She's the Iron Lady for a reason. She can knock out men. And Aspen Ladd could not take the heat. She couldn't take that smoke in there. I'm just giving her shit. This was also an early stoppage. I don't agree, even though I was really having some words back and forth with a few guys on Twitter, and they were saying that the weight cut did not matter. But immediately when I saw the weight cut, I was texting you telling you, this weight cut's bad. This is a really bad misstep. She didn't need to cut that extra pound. And then I kept added money to So I had a couple bets, and I started doing round 1 props, round 2 props, just because I'm like, you can't hydrate without an IV in an amount of time to really get that water in your brain. I didn't think Ladd, though, in that looked like she was out on her feet. I also thought that she got hurt and then was rolling back to start to guard, and then they called it. I never saw limp anything. Simone, he face planted. Ladd didn't. She more just got hurt and then was going to start to work.
The second punch was literally not. If it was on her shoulder across herself, it was not a painful punch at all. It was not in her head.
And it was like then some hammer fists. But again, never...
No, I don't think she ever got hit by anything else. I think it was stopped after the very first punch across her chest. It was really strange. And the first punch that hit her, though, crisp, on the button, boop, knocked her down. I feel like this is the mistake we watch Herb Dean make, and I want to be a little, that I think it's sexist. For some reason, it hurts him to watch a lady a little quicker. He's like, stop hitting her. This is too much.
But with this, do you think that because Aspen Ladd, after that weight cut, had to get re-medically checked out, which they don't do for everybody, that Herb Dean was already on high alert?
Yeah, it was almost like how you can't pick a clean jury if everyone's seen the tape.
Exactly.
That's how I almost
like Betty
feel
Wise.
Like I would have, if I were in the octagon, this is where I have to stick up for Herb Dean, because I find myself doing it more and more. If I put myself in his shoes, I can see myself calling it quicker too. Like, I thought so. Like, and he watches everything we watch, so I got to think he was on high alert as well.
I feel like
it puts us all in grandma mode.
True. I feel like we like to say that this is when the black iguana strikes again.
Yeah, dead on, evil twin.
100% changed my mind.
Came planting seeds.
Oh.
I think it was called early.
It was early.
And everyone that's like, oh, they just saved some ground and pound. No, that's where GDR would have gotten in trouble. If she would have even thought to go to the ground with Aspen Ladd, I think that would have been a really bad idea. But I don't think GDR would. I think she would have taken what strike she could from the top and backed away and made her get up. GDR is very smart inside the octagon. And you were saying the hands of GDR are going to be crisp. And, I mean, what can we say about that fight? And it sucks it was called early. But she got her, and it's the UFC, and that's the way the mop flopped, so to speak. I'm going to try to be... So much bitter happened in it that I'm like...
That one sucked.
It was a hot pepper.
That one sucked. And it was definitely, GDR was a staple for me.
And I'm a little bummed, too, because I would have really loved to see GDR, like, let's say 100% right, 5 rounds, GDR goes out and schools, or 3 rounds, she goes out and fucking picks her apart, slices her apart, and then knocks her out. Like, I would really love to see GDR do a clinic, so I know how to bet on her versus Amanda, her versus Cyborg, her versus Holly, like, things coming up. I want to know. I want to see that GDR. Now I'll just be left to guess again.
That's a great point, and that is really what's going to be hard with GDR. It hurts both of them.
We keep saying it like poor Aspen or whatever and poor Ladd. No, it sucks for GDR too. Every win, she has to have the most controversial win in the UFC where everyone hates her. She can't gain a fan to save her freaking life.
Did you hear her on the post show with Ryan and stuff being like, oh, I don't care. A win's a win. Like, she's already dealt with it. She does not care. She will hit you after the bell.
She's not all Tom Petty like me.
She's like, I'm a cop in my real life. I'm a cop in my real life.
She's like, I moved on. A win's a win.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even have to break a sweat, and I got paid the same.
Double. And knocked out of the night. She got an extra 50 grand.
They have to legitimize it because really there is no one else to fight Amanda Nunes. But hey, you know what? This is the other thing. I'm going to be real honest. Aspen Ladd, too much too soon for her to fight Nunes next. GDR deserves to fight the champ and clean at her own weight class. She did the UFC a favor by fighting Holly at 145 for a belt she never really wanted in a weight class she never really wanted to go to. Maybe we get to see her now fighting her own weight class. And what's Amanda known for? Striking. Everyone says she's frightening at it. What's GDR known for? Striking. That fight intrigues me. Maybe we all get a gift from that.
We've seen it once.
And it could happen soon. We might get to see that in November. That could be on a New York time, whatever their New York City card is for the holiday. Like, that fight could happen this year. So, not that Aspen Ladd Amanda couldn't happen, but does that intrigue you at all?
No.
Not as much.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
GDR
it's not time.
Amanda, that's the next fight that should happen.
Definitely. I agree with all of that.
And anyone that says Chris Cyborg, I don't really want to see that yet.
Yeah, and she's fighting at 45. I thought against Felicia Spencer.
Yeah, so let
them do their own thing.
Amanda's
with Anderson.
Clean and crisp right now. I think that's the fight to make. That's the fight to make. And is there any Twitter-verse talk?
There's been a ton that has went on that we haven't got to due to the holidays coming through. We didn't talk about Chad Mendes re-retiring. I almost thought he was coming back in. I was almost like, give me that money. Give me that money.
You're like, give me that money
but
back.
with that,
he was just trying to gain more steam.
With that win from Uriah Faber, do not think Chad Mendes wasn't like, maybe I do want to make a comeback. Do not think that wasn't the first thing he thought in there. So I think that
Oh, he's like, if Uriah Faber can do that, I sure can.
against
go
a prospect, exactly.
and do that. There's other guys in there I can beat. I don't have to be, because Chad Mendez, same thing. He's a big enough guy that if he's like, oh, I don't have to fight for the belt anymore.
Not Aldo. I don't have to fight Aldo again.
Yeah, like, I don't
good.
have to keep doing that same stuff over and over again.
So he re-retired. Another retirement or official let go that we didn't talk about much or haven't got into. We had John Lineker a few weeks ago get relieved of his duties after falling out in that fight card that he replaced against Rob Font the second time around. UFC had enough. UFC was like, deuces, we told you guys that, hey, he probably wasn't going to make the weight cut and he didn't want to make himself look bad, so that's why they probably let him, or why he even dropped that. And it was on grounds to get let go of, and the UFC has had enough, and I mean, rightly so.
If the ESPN, the way they're doing workups and they're doing stuff right, they don't need headaches. They don't need prima donna headaches that are going to pull out of fight cards when they're trying to promote them right. If the UFC is a promotion and you're not going to let them promote you and you're going to cost them millions of dollars when they have to pull posters and do new ads and they can't build a main event around you so your audience can only get so big because they can't trust that you're going to show up for those fights, which also means you can't fight the other stars that deserve co-main and main event spots.
Right.
So you only can get so big. So what can we do with you? There's somebody else that wants your spot, and frankly, it sucks for him. I'm glad he's moved on and found to go build other organizations, but
right now he got a contract with, was it Resin?
Or One.
Or One. I think it was One. You're right. So he's officially with the One Championships. He's going to have a lot easier fights and get paid a lot more money. Good for John
Yeah, make sure
Lineker.
you guys are chiming in, FYI, and letting us know if you're liking Twitterverse Talk at the end of the show. Twitterverse Talk at the end of the show. And then we could also do the commercials right between the end of our card and this.
Oh.
And so the people that stick around, it's like that after scene in like Marvel Universe shows.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like it's the hand that comes to the sand.
It's like, oh, wait, there's more.
Yeah.
So, other Twitterverse stuff, I gotta get into it.
We should have a little dance, like Twitterverse Talk at the end of the show. The Twitterverse Talk at the end of the show.
This is totally off MMA, and I don't like to do that much in my life. But you know, when you bring up aliens, I'm in.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I don't know if you've seen this petition, but there is over 300,000 people that are saying that they're going to Area 51. And count me in, buddy. September 20th, let's go. Not really, I got a job. But
you know what I think? You could storm Area 51, but if you're going to get all uppity, why don't you storm the Vatican?
Good point. A lot creepier stuff at the Vatican. I want to party with aliens. I want to get my freak on with aliens. I want to go dancing.
It just seems like either way that goes down, like people are going to be running in and they're going to be like, if you come any closer, prepare to get shot.
100%.
People just start falling forward on Walking Dead style. Like you're like, what is happening? What is happening?
So I support anyone who goes down there. Just take some video because I want to watch. I want to see the aliens. I want to see them. But
yeah, if you go down, get us a t-shirt.
Agreed. I saw it. I was there.
Yeah, get us. That's crazy. I think my weird thing is I finally finished Stranger Things, the 3rd season.
We're still on the last episode.
I won't say anything.
Thank you, but overall, pleasantly pleased. But it's a novela. It's definitely daytime TV by this point. I don't know what people are liking about Alexi. He was a nice guy. Everybody likes Cherry Limeade. Come on, get out of here. But it was fun. It's been fun so far. I got 1 episode to go.
Yeah.
Leave it. We'll wait.
It's clever. I think it's clever. Like, I just think it's clever the way they work in certain other movies in it. Just even if they're vague references, that if you really know the genre, and you can even see what they're already working toward for a next season's ideas and where that is on the timeline of American fashion and television and movies and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, yeah, so that is off MMA, and that is all we're going to do. Is there any other MMA news?
Nothing off the top of my head right now. We definitely gave it a good one. Getting that morning after. Letting you know how we feel about it. We got a fun card coming right on top of us It's going to be out of San Antonio, Texas. We go into the Big T.
What are the big... Oh, it's a kind of exciting fight. I'm
It's
curious.
Dos Anjos versus Leon Edwards. After eating that 3-piece with a soda, he's going to definitely be showing us how full he is. Do you want to hot take that real quick for the fans?
I know, I was going to ask her, is that going to be where it's like, oh, you got to be right there? Do you want to give any of fight away on that? I think the one fight, Greg Hardy versus Juan Adams.
Ooh, that's a fun one. It's not the co-main event.
I think we have to give him one fight. James Vick versus Daniel
Hooker.
Hooker. That's a good fight.
Trinaldo Hernandez.
Some of these fights I feel like I already watched. Where I have to
Arlovsky
shut my
Rothwell
brain
too?
and see what I think I see.
Exactly. There's definitely some names on there. We got Pennington, Igvel Saldana, and San Antonio has some key marquee fight cards coming in. There are a couple number 2s. We have Peralta, who I've been asking for a while, starting it off. The hot take then. Which one do you want to give him as of right now?
Okay, let's do who we saw in his Affliction white shirt with silver writing with diamonds embroidered on it. Let's do Alexei Olenek versus Walt Harris.
The co-main event at 265 pounds, my hot take is going to be, I don't have anything on this. I haven't even thought of it. I'm going to do my tape study later, but I'm going to say Walt Harris is able to use his sprawl and brawl to stay striking. He actually has looked way better in his striking as of late. Give me the big ticket Harris to finish this via TKO. I love you, Alexei. You got a humongous wife, and she's nice. But
Tall,
I got big.
statuesque.
Very, very.
I have Olenek right now. What is that? Anaconda choke? What's his one?
Ezekiel choke.
Ezekiel choke. Yeah, I should know better. Yeah. So that's it. That's LaTB. I think it's episode 221, the morning after. Once again, thanks for listening and bye-bye.
LaTB!